National championship and Heisman Trophy hopes all coming from the physical SEC West. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz and CSTV's Trev Alberts with you, breaking down this part of the Southeastern Conference. And Trev, let's start with LSU because, well, let's face it, everything runs through LSU, and everybody putting them at the top of the polls this season. But they lost number 1 overall pick Jamarcus Russell. They lost 2 first-round receivers. Are they really that much better than the rest of the conference?
No, I don't think so. And not only that, you mentioned the guys they lost. They also lost 2 games last year. I don't know, people kind of forget. I mean, they lost to this Auburn team right here. They also lost to Florida. But the reason why people love them is because of that right there. It's their defense. I mean, truly remarkable. The front 7 of LSU this year, behind Dorsey and the rest of the fellas, literally should be scary. I mean, Bo Pelini has the defensive coordinator, the number 3 last year ranked defense in all of college football. The front 7 cannot be blocked, and so it takes a lot of pressure off of that secondary. But the thing you mentioned in terms of the offense is simply you lose Jamarcus Russell. Here's a defense. Here's the profile. 4th in scoring defense, 3rd in total defense, and 8 starters return. But transitioning to that offense, not only is Jamarcus Russell gone, Matt Flynn gets a start at quarterback. We've seen him. He's proven that he can play. But people often forget when coaches leave. They often, misunderstand or misinterpret the losses of the coaches. Jimbo Fisher goes on to Florida State. Gary Croton is a new offensive coordinator. Sure, some things are going to be the same, but there's a new offensive coordinator at LSU that we haven't seen. This is a team that lost 2 games, lost a starting quarterback. Yeah, they're going to have a great defense. And yes, the schedule sets up well for them. All of their tough games are in Baton Rouge. So, yes, LSU should be the preseason favorite to win the West. Which is maybe one of, if not one of the toughest places to win in all of college football. All right, you talked about Auburn beating LSU, and they've always, at least the last few years, have also been mentioned at the top of the conference with the Tigers. Well, at least the other Tigers. But what is the story down in Auburn this season? Well, here's a team that won 11 games last year. I think a remarkable feat again. Tommy Tuberville, remember, they wanted to fire him. They wanted Bobby Petrino. All he's done is responded, and this team consistently in the last few years have continued to win. Now, defensively, Quentin Grove, still a pretty good player, but offensively is where I think you're going to see the most improvement. You mentioned Brandon Cox at quarterback. This is an offense that was like 76 in the country in total offense. Al Borges, the offensive coordinator, has talked openly about opening things up. I mean, Cox suffered through some injuries last year, and they had some other issues. Lester needs to be healthy at running back, but I just think this offense needs to take some more chances. When Jason Campbell was the quarterback, they would go down the field and they would challenge with these big wide receivers. They got away from that. So I think that Auburn will challenge more, but it's a schedule that's going to affect them. Much like we talked about LSU and all their tough games being at home, Auburn is ridiculous. I mean, at Florida, at Georgia, at Arkansas, and at LSU. Yep. So matching the 11 wins, this could be a better team than last year, but they may not have 11 wins because of that schedule. They also have a couple of tough non-conference home games as well, one of those being South Florida, who should be much better this season. All right, you can't talk about Auburn without discussing Alabama. And, of course, this year with Alabama, you can't talk about the Crimson Tide. They have a new coach? Yeah, I think they have a new coach. I think it's Savior down there in Tuscaloosa, that being Nick Saban and all the money he's making. But Alabama's lost 5 straight to Auburn's first time it's happened since '58 when Bear Bryant was in his first year. So what does the former Dolphins coach and former LSU coach and former Michigan State coach and all the accolades that he has coming along with him, what does he bring specifically to Alabama? It makes me wonder, when will we say the former Alabama coach? But that's for another day. What does he bring? He brings discipline. He brings a guy who will demand perfection out of his team. This is a team that was 6-7, was up and down. He will demand that his team play 4 quarters. I think that Alabama still has issues. I mean, their quarterback is okay, John Parker Wilson. DJ Hall at wide receiver is a pretty good player. I think their defense is okay. They have a lot of holes. Kevin Still's their new defensive coordinator. They'll be much more aggressive. Here's what you will see with Alabama. They will never get blown out. They will play for 4 quarters, and they will be a much tougher out. Major Applewhite, who has to be, he has to be like 4 days older than you. The youngest offensive coordinator that I've ever seen. He's now the offensive coordinator. But here at the bottom, they finished 3-7 against teams that were a combined 4-28. So it's an inconsistent team. They look good at times, but played very poorly at others. That's going to go away. They're still going to lose games. Yep. They don't have the talent as some of the teams like LSU and Auburn, but they're going to win some games that they weren't supposed to win.
Those 3 wins they had at the end of the season, those were against teams that went and combined 4-28. So those wins weren't against very good teams, including Duke was up there as well. All right, I can't believe we've gone this far into the SEC West. And we haven't even talked about the team that won the SEC West last year, that being Arkansas. It's not a great quarterback situation. Touchdown receptions record setter Marcus Monk, he's now out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury to start the season. Defense lost 7 starters. But everyone knows the Houston Nut has Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. Is that enough for this roster?
No. I mean, Darren McFadden, in my opinion, is the best running back in all of college football, an unbelievable player. Felix Jones would probably be an All-American if he weren't standing there with Darren McFadden. How do you get him all the balls? I know you can put Darren McFadden under center and try and play him at quarterback, but realistically, in this conference, to try to win this conference, yeah, you want to run the ball, but you're going to have some quarterback play. So Casey Dick has to come out and be able to complete some passes to an offense that was 108th in the nation in passing offense. So you have a new offensive coordinator, and David Lee comes from the Cowboys. Can they get anything done offensively? Houston Nutt's just glad the offseason's about over. Can you imagine what he went through? This team now trying to transition and get past all of the distractions of all the transfers.
All the transfers, and Gus Malzahn is gone as well, last year's offensive coordinator. Real quickly, Mississippi State, neither team has really been able to find themselves out of the basement, especially for Mississippi since Eli Manning left for the NFL. Anything happen this year? Anything change?
No. The most disappointing thing for me is if I'm an Ole Miss fan, we had David Cutcliffe, well thought of, won 10 games. Then the next year after Eli, they win 6, so they fire him. Look at where they're at now. We talked about Kentucky staying with a coach, if you believe in that coach. Ole Miss made a mistake. Mississippi State still struggling under the previous, probation. Those teams so far to go. Not bad. They've got individual 2 or 3 pretty good players. Jarvis Green Ellis, not a bad running back, but not enough talent to compete in this league.
And Mississippi State also has a good running back in Dixon as well. All right, for more on each of those teams or everybody else in the SEC or any other conference, be sure to read Dennis Dodd exclusively here on CBS Sports. Check out Crystal Ball featuring this man right here to the right. That being Trev Alberts all season long on CSTV. For Trev, I'm Jason Horowitz. SEC football, at least in the West, begins with LSU and Mississippi State Thursday, August 30th. Enjoy it, folks. Take care.